in our graves. Just specimens is all New Hampshire has, one each of everything, as in a showcase, which naturally she doesn't care to sell. She had one president, pronounce him Purse, and make the most of it for better or worse. He's your one chance to score against the state. She had one Daniel Webster. He was all that Daniel Webster ever was or shall be. She had the Dartmouth needed to produce him. I call her old. She has one family whose claim is good to being settled here before the era of colonization, and before that of exploration even. John Smith remarked them as he coasted by, dangling their legs and fishing off a wharf at the Isles of Shoals, and satisfied himself they weren't red Indians, but veritable pre-primitives of the white race, dawn people, like those who furnished Adam's sons with wives, however uninnocent they may have been in being there so early in our history. They'd been there then 100 years or more. Pity he didn't ask what they were up to at that date with a wharf already built and take their name. They've since told me their name, today an honored one in Nottingham. As for what they were up to more than fishing, suppose they weren't behaving puritanly. The hour had not yet struck for being good. Mankind had not yet gone on the sabbatical. It became an explorer of the deep not to explore too deep in others' business. Did you but know of him, New Hampshire has one real reformer who would change the world. So it would be accepted by two classes. Artists, the minute they set up as artists, before, that is, they are themselves accepted, and boys the minute they get out of college. I can't help thinking those are tests to go by. And she has one, I don't know what to call him, who comes from Philadelphia every year with a great flock of chickens of rare breeds he wants to give the educational advantages of growing almost wild, under the watchful eye of hawk and eagle. Dorkings because they're spoken of by Chaucer, Sussex because they're spoken of by Herrick. She has a touch of gold, New Hampshire gold. You may have heard of it. I had a farm offered me not long since up Berlin way, with a mine on it that was worked for gold, but not gold in commercial quantities, just enough gold to make the engagement rings and marriage rings of those who owned the farm. What gold more innocent could one have asked for? One of my children, ranging after rocks, lately brought home from Andover or Canaan a specimen of beryl with a trace of radium. I know with radium the trace would have to be the merest trace to be below the threshold of commercial. But trust New Hampshire not to have enough of radium or anything to sell. A specimen of everything, I said. She has one witch, old style. She lives in Colebrook. The only other witch I ever met was lately at a cut-class dinner in Boston. There were 4 candles and 4 people present. The witch was young and beautiful, new style, and open-minded. She was free to question her gift for reading letters locked in boxes. Why was it so much greater when the boxes were metal than it was when they were wooden? It made the world seem so mysterious. The Society for Psychical Research was cognizant. Her husband was worth millions. I think he owned some shares in Harvard College. New Hampshire used to have at Salem a company we called the White Corpuscles, whose duty was at any hour of night to rush in sheets and foolscaps where they smelled a thing the least bit doubtfully presented, and give someone the Skipper Ireson's ride. One each of everything, as in a showcase. More than enough land for a specimen, you'll say she has, but there enters in something else to protect her from herself. There quality makes up for quantity. Not even New Hampshire farms are much for sale. The farm I made my home on in the mountains I had to take by force rather than buy. I caught the owner outdoors by himself, raking up after winter, and I said,